It is 4:32 p.m. on February 1st, 2022. I call this meeting to order. This meeting is being recorded and is available on demand at fatv.org, as well as airing on Fitchburg Access Television. Please keep that in mind when making any comments. Be aware on how your screen may appear and that our meetings are open to the public. The Fitchburg Cultural Council is a nonprofit volunteer body that is part of the City of Fitchburg's government and the state entity of the Mass Cultural Council. The PR subcommittee specifically focused on the council's public relations. This is a non-voting subcommittee. Any voting decisions are brought to the large council, which means monthly, every third Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Matt, are you able to stay for the whole meeting to do minutes, or should we ask someone else to do minutes?
No, I'll be okay. It was a question of the start, but I'm all set.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Can I ask someone to volunteer, whether it's Matt or someone else, of assignments, or like when someone volunteers to do something?
To do what? What do you need me to do?
Yeah, you cut out there for a minute.
Oh, sorry. I think it would be really helpful if someone kept track whenever someone volunteered to do something, so that we could have like a list of assignments. Would that be easier, Matt, if someone else did it, or?
It'll be reflected in the minutes, but I don't. You want more like a working doc that we could consult, and is that what you're after?
Well, so that when people volunteer, we can mark it as assignments, and then at the end of the meeting, we can remind, and then also we can send it in the email so that those who volunteer to do something remember that they.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that.
Thanks, Matt. All right, so I will ask you to recap at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
All right, so can I share screen? Okay. All right, so this is our agenda for today's meeting. Grant announcements, FCC TV, PR calendar and plans, scholarship PR for approval, assignments and announcements. Adjournment. So start off, let's talk about FY 2022 grant announcements. Matt, do you want me to, should I share screen your press release?
Sure. I hopefully people got a chance to see it, but if they didn't, no time like the present. So yeah, this was a draft release I put together announcing the. Obviously, we don't usually get into the granularity of all 50 projects, but just to sort of give a little snapshot of what the council's been up to. So you'll see there's a quote in there from the mayor, but obviously I would have to run that by him and make sure he's okay with that. But
does anyone have any notes?
if people haven't had a chance to see it, it's in the body of an email that I sent to the counselors earlier too, so you have it there. So I think if it's appropriate, we don't have to vote on this. So if you want to look at it and send feedback back to me. And I have a scan from my newspaper days, so you're not going to hurt my feelings if you say.
I think
it looks pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. I'll take pretty good.
I think it looks pretty great. I was curious. I'm wondering for the links. I've been using. I created a link tree for us in which it has like, it has the cultural council, the Mass Cultural Council, like our website for it, as well as the City Hall's website, which that has our embedded community calendar on there, in our Facebook group. So I'm wondering if that would be good to highlight, or maybe just highlighting the city websites that are like city web page.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. City Hall has changed their website to fitchburgmass.gov/blah, blah, 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 which makes it, I think it look a little bit cleaner than what it looked like before.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyone else? All right.
In picking the projects to highlight here, I just wanted to sort of show some diversity and breadth, but also that we were informed by what we talked about at the public input meeting, that we didn't just do, oh, that's great, but we're going to do our thing, you know. So I tried to show that it reflected that.
I like that. Yeah. All right, cool. I made a graphic. Can I make this big? Yes, I can. Did anyone have any notes on the graphic?
I have notes.
Yes, Casey.
Formatting, we can't see some of the grantees who are along the sides and the bottom of the cityscape itself. So it's going to need to either be shrunken or just.
I actually, even though it looks like that they're cut off, I mean, some of them they're slightly covered, but I rearranged it so that it actually says the whole thing. Like right here it says Sheriff Osgood's basketball court mural project, kind of reformatted it so it looks like that it's like that you can read the whole thing.
Yeah. And
then same thing with the Johnny Appleseed Trail Association's Country Fair live. I mean, it says live entertainment. I guess I didn't think that it was like super.
Is this what kind of document is this right now?
It's I did it through Photoshop.
Okay, so if those are two different layers, would you be able to even just like scale up the cityscape a little tiny bit and scale down the text a little bit, or even just like leave the text and scale up the cityscape so that there's more of a buffer space around the text and the design?
So you want it so that there is like a nice gap so that you can.
Yeah, I just want it to be legible.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
I appreciate your creativity around things, but I think that, and I don't think you can really make the type any smaller because it's already fairly.
Yeah, no, that's very.
But you could take the congratulations and the banners and move them up a little bit and create a little bit more space that way.
Sounds good.
And I like that you used the photo of downtown. I think that that's very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I was struggling with it looking too boring.
No, it looks great. I agree with others that the text needs to be more legible around the buildings. And isn't there a way to kind of lasso around the images and then have the text flow around those images?
Yeah, I can make it so that I think what I was initially trying to do was make the text look like it's in the background, even though you can read the whole thing. But yeah. I can make sure that the text is fully visible and it's more not in the foreground, but that the city isn't inhibiting it.
I also think that you could take the photo and crop it, move it down just a little bit. You don't need as much of the cars in the street. It'll still read.
Mm-hmm.
That might open up a little more space too.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to get the car that's on the street so that there's a bottom, but I can also just move it up so that it's only kind of the top of the buildings.
Yeah, there's a lot of copy to type in there, all those different grantees. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's nice to see though. I mean, we certainly funded a lot. And overall the imagery and the concept is great.
Cool.
Yeah, my first reaction was it was really dense, but then I liked the density because again, as Liz just said, it conveys how much is going on.
Yeah,
I
that's
think that's
true.
great. And you can see it's a nice variety of
Yeah.
things. So if you're interested enough to look at it, it is very processable and readable. So nice job, Audrey.
Thank you.
If you just can
And I
move it
didn't
up,
find any
that'd be great.
typos.
Cool. What'd you say, Sam?
Now, if you just can move it up, that'd be great. But it's nice. It's really nice.
I will give it more breathing room. Should we give this image to the Sentinel Enterprise? Do you think this is going to look good on a newspaper, or should we set it for like a black and white image?
I would set it for a black and white image. And if you're gonna do that, I would recommend maybe making the background a little darker and making the names in white. So
Does
that
this-
they'll pop out.
Sorry. Does the Sentinel Enterprise print in color or black and white?
They print in color, and especially online. So maybe we could give them both.
Yeah, I
because
was saying if you leave it in color, you can send it to Sentinel Enterprise, the Pulse. I don't know if there are other print papers around here.
Yeah. Now they might want to treat this as a paid display ad, which is I don't think what we're talking about, correct?
No,
We're just
correct.
hoping they run this as a item of.
It's like a press release.
Yeah, because I know
'Cause they'll get
usually
the
they
press
ask for
release
an
too,
image with the
but-
press release.
Yeah. But if we can cross paths, Audrey, and when I have approval from the mayor's office on the press release, we can coordinate so I can attach this to the press release that I send out. And that way we know we're giving them a visual asset if they want it.
Sounds good.
And maybe even
So
break out
should-
our logo as its own element too, if they want to use that, because who knows? Who knows
Yeah.
what they'll use?
Hmm.
Especially online, we can get away with a lot.
I think those are
Right.
great ideas.
So should I create a black and white version? And I don't need to.
I mean, they can probably turn it black and white if they need to, but although you'll have more control over what the creative decisions they make with it if you make it black and white.
Yeah.
How's that for an equivocal, non-committed answer? Audrey? I can be more vague. I'll think of a third or fourth option.
If you're so
That
inclined
version,
to do a
if
black
I
and
have
white
time.
version.
So that they have the option.
Yeah, do one in infrared too. We'll do an infrared version.
Yeah. Casey, is the Pulse something that would take press releases?
They used to. I haven't been in touch with anyone over there in like a press standpoint for a number of years.
I guess
But
it doesn't hurt to send it to them, right?
Yeah, can't hurt.
It can't hurt.
All right, Matt, can you also send it to the Pulse?
Yep.
Cool, and whatever other relevant newspapers.
Yep.
Okay. So Matt is writing, Matt wrote a PSA for the announcement. By the way, I know that a lot of you have to leave at 5 o'clock. Were there like certain agenda items that you want to make sure that we hit before you leave?
I had a comment that's not on the agenda, so I don't know if that's something that we can just email about later or talk.
I guess so.
I just think
Can
we
it
need
fit
to
anywhere in the agenda.
it can't fit anywhere in the agenda. We just need to get new backgrounds and name tags for the new members.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm still working on sending Shara, Sam, and Liz their welcome emails and all that stuff. And that is one of the things that I want that I'm going to send as well.
Thank you.
As well as updated things. Okay. Here's the PSA that Matt wrote. Does anyone have any notes on that?
So obviously it's thematically similar to the press release, but I was thinking this is something like what Casey probably as our host, the televised face of the Cultural Council. This would be good.
Eileen, you have your hand up? Oh, you're on mute. Either you're muted or your microphone's quiet.
And we can't hear you at all.
It says that you're not muted.
I don't even see where she could chat, like where.
Oh,
would-
wait, okay, now she's muted. Oh, no, wait, ask to
Yeah.
unmute. Yeah, we
That's
don't
not
have a
better.
chat window. Hmm, you could email us.
She might want to leave and come back into the meeting. Sometimes that
Mm.
will help.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Eileen, try that. Oh, or she went away.
Oh, well,
Okay,
she's
anyway.
coming back.
Yep.
I have a stopwatch.
Oh, excellent. Great.
In all its glory.
Yay.
And there was no through those.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in a moment. So I asked Tamar if she was cool with doing the PSA. I think she said yes, unless, oh, well, I was gonna ask Eileen or Casey as alternatives, but Eileen is not here.
Are you saying the PSA is a PSA on FCC TV or FATV?
On FHTV, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yes.
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 Oh, good.
Wait, did we lose Sam?
Mm.
Oh,
I think we
he's there.
lost Sam.
No, he's
But
there.
Oh,
your
no, he's
other
here.
one is still here. He's still here?
Mm.
Oh, this grid is
I'm here,
only
I'm
showing me like the first like 6 or something like that for some
I'm
reason.
here.
Hi, Sam. Sorry. All right, Eileen, I'm gonna get rid of your second one then.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take
What
it
I
away.
wanted to say is I thought the press release and the PSA script was really good, particularly the idea of getting the mayor to have a quote in. I think that's fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Agreed. Eileen, I asked Tamara if she was interested in doing the PSA, but I also want to offer it to you since you're the grant coordinator. It would be in front of TV, a television camera, and doing like a, you know, the 1-minute PSA, reading that off.
I think Tamar should do it.
Okay.
Tamar's the president. She's really the face of our organization.
All right, sounds good. So same question about doing like a press tour. Tamar was willing, but Eileen, were you interested in doing like, you know, being a guest on TV shows, radio?
If Tamar can make it, you know, I can do that. I think Tamar should be first choice, but I realize she's busy with many things.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, really quickly, FCC TV, our next taping is Monday, February 28th. Eileen, it sounds like, so I talked to Tamar a little bit. She has already sent the grant acceptance through the Mass Cultural Council website, but it's like bare minimum. So I think she wants to like also have like, you know, letters or emails or letters sent to the grant.
I'm ready to do that. One of my hangups is I've been trying to get a copy of the thing we were looking at the meeting last week, where I could clearly see, you know, what the final thing was. Unfortunately, it comes out in 2. So maybe I've been asking Tamar about that, if there's some way that I can, because I'd like to be able to
Yeah.
put in, you know, our record show, you got this much, blah, blah, but I don't want to make any mistakes. That'd be really bad. But the way it is now, it's in 2, it's hard to put the rows together.
Yeah,
Understand, need to collapse some columns or something. But yes, I'm ready to do it as soon as I can get, I could do it tomorrow if I could get the information right.
okay, cool. I'll send you, I think I'm included it in the email of the I have a file called FY22 grantees for, sorry, here it is.
Yes, is that your
FY22
email?
grantee info for PR.
In both of the emails I received, they don't come together.
Okay, So
Okay,
I'm
so I-
guessing you want, what are the most important columns that you want?
I really want to be able to be sure that I know what money we granted them. And the way it is now, I can't, if you look at it in the email. I don't want to take up Matt's time either. Maybe we can talk about this offline.
Yeah, you and I can chat.
Okay, why
But
don't we do that?
I can like reformat it so that it's like easy for you.
Okay,
But in that email, will it be appropriate to invite those grantees to sign up for FCC TV, or should I do a separate email for that?
no, actually, there's going to be so much stuff in this email that you might get better a response if you did the email yourself. Or we did a third email. I don't mind doing it either if you'd like me to do it, but I think you get, there's going to be a lot in this, you know, with the new logos and the public relations stuff and all of that, don't you think?
I mean, it can be kind of a good, like, this is
I mean, I
this-
can
the
do it if you
email that
like.
has like everything in it kind of thing.
I can do that if you like. I just don't think those communicate as well as occasional. So the email that I'll be sending will be talking about their responsibilities. And the email that you would send would talk about, you know, how we're going to help them. And I'm happy to write it. Okay. But I'm thinking 2 emails.
Okay, well, since you'll be CCing the Fitchburg.mcc, I can just reply to that and invite them to,
Okay, if you like.
yeah. All right, cool. So I will invite them to FCC TV. That's my assignment. And then, so Liz, you were mentioning the stopwatch is, so have we figured out how to do that with City Hall? And then I'm guessing that, we'll, at the next meeting, we have to vote to pay for that from our budget and not from your pocket. You're muted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so the stopwatch has been acquired. I think I jumped the gun because I was supposed to send you a picture of it, but it did kind of seem like people were like, yeah, okay, get whatever. Just a basic stopwatch. So yeah, so we'll just need a vote to charge it. So if you want to see the actual thing, I haven't actually opened it up. But that's,
Cool.
Actual
Yeah, I think
size.
as long as the buttons are good.
big numbers, big numbers.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Vote to
There it
approve
is.
budget. Cool. All right. PR calendar and plan. Eileen, do you want to share your your proposal, or did you have an updated one that you want to?
You mean the
Share?
public relations plan work in progress?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to share it as it is, but it needs a lot of work. I think I kind of set things out the way they should go, but I believe I missed the meeting where a lot of these ideas came up because I was still recovering from major surgery. So I thought we might go through some of this stuff, and not all of it, just maybe in the first quarter, and talk about what we're going to do. One of the things I really think is, since we really would like to get some live coverage of these events. And in order to do that, I think you have to get out ahead of them and talk personally to some reporters who have covered us, like Danielle. So I think we need to talk about who does what and all that sort of thing. So can you put it up on your, okay.
Yeah. So I'm just pulling it up. Okay. Share screen. Sure.
Okay, so it looks like we've already got the first one covered. We're putting out a media release, and the name of the, I think at some point when we have, say, our, you know, maybe around in February, or it is February, and sort of a couple weeks from now, we should talk about some of the highlights of our plan for the year in another release. What does everybody think about that?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Too.
So
Okay.
oh, never mind. I was gonna ask if we should assign someone to that right now, but we could also just go through this first.
Okay. We're going to have a development event in the first quarter of the year. This has been suggested. I'm thinking March would be a good time to do that. By that way, hopefully a lot of this COVID will be swept away, or will be less sanctioned by it, and that we should go ahead with our idea to go to the River Styx. It's a bar, but I think it's an interesting story. The co-owner of the bar called in local artists to help her decide how to adorn the bar. How many of you have been to that bar, the River Styx? It's cool, isn't it? With the black sign, but I think her story is interesting, and they'd love to host us for that. And if we go on a weekday, we can have our own table and that sort of thing. In terms of a weekday, I'm happy to set that up. In terms of a weekday, what's a good weekday? Not
Let me
Friday.
look up what people said from our public input meeting. What they said were
Okay.
good days to attend events.
So you're about to lose all three of us because we all have to hop off for a 5 o'clock meeting. So
Yes.
I'm actually gonna say goodbye now because this seems like a good stopping point.
Me too.
So sorry. See you
That's
guys next
okay.
time.
That's okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
All right.
I'm looking up what people suggested were good times to attend, but that'll take me a moment. So
I think I've included it all in here. I just don't have many details on it.
could
Because I
we
wasn't
add
there.
dates to this public relations plans? Like obviously the the dates can.
Well, that's why I was
be
coming to you.
adjustable.
I was coming to the group first.
Mm.
I'd like to do the River Styx things in March. I'm asking what day of the week is best for everybody. So maybe I could put out an email on that. Why don't I talk to River Styx and put out an email on that saying
Yeah,
what they
maybe if
think.
they give us some dates.
Okay, and I'll
Right, 'cause
I'll
I know
give
they
it
do
to
like
Chris.
trivia nights and things there, so there might be nights that they wouldn't want something like this.
Yes, we'd want our own. Would we want our own, do you think? We'd want our own, right?
Yeah, I don't think we want to step on their successful events. I think we want to make our own.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll talk to her and we'll find out where we're going.
Just for awareness, I don't know how other people are feeling about said pandemic, but I have not. I've only eaten at like maybe like 3 or 4 restaurants indoors since March 2020. So I mean, I don't drink anyways, but I know I probably won't be taking off my mask while inside of a place.
I think there are a lot of people who
Anytime soon.
won't be taking off their masks ever, and that's their choice, I think. We might all have our masks on for it. But but should I go ahead with it?
Well, the reason why I bring that up is that, I mean, if River Styx is hosting it, they'll want people to patronize because that's, we should patronize them. But like, I
You can
don't
pull
know
down your
if that
mask
would
and
be
drink.
difficult.
Yeah.
I just think things will be better in March. We can always change it if it isn't true, but it might be good to start setting the date now and talking about it.
March is in 1 month.
Yeah, it's sort of early. I think
It
if we,
doesn't seem very far away.
I think if we think late March at the earliest, because then because we do have nice days in March. I mean, it could be, and they have
Yes.
nice outdoor seating. I mean, if we time this
Yeah.
right, and then I think make a lot of people more comfortable attending. And again, hopefully, the numbers are going the right way now, but a lot could happen in 6 weeks, 8 weeks with numbers, and maybe that would make people, because obviously we want people to come and be engaged and support.
March is a good
That's
idea.
fine. That's fine. All right, input survey.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting to get a squad of people who will volunteer to attend some of the big events that we're sponsoring, and to collect people's names and emails so they can hear about more of the events. I think it would be good to start developing a list, because at some point we might be starting to ask people for contributions. I think that that's one of the things that the MCC would like to see us do. So that's one of the things I'm suggesting. Does that make sense to everyone?
So like start an email newsletter?
Pardon?
Do you mean like start an email newsletter?
Or an email newsletter, a heads up when we're having something, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I guess we could test and see what happens when we send out a newsletter from our Gmail account. I haven't done that since we first started our Gmail account, and it kind of made everything, we lost some credibility as an email service, as an email for like a month or something like that, because they thought that we were spam. But maybe now that we've had the email for like a year and a half and done several correspondence, that like it'll work better. But that's the only reason why I've been hesitant to actually start a newsletter without having a non-free email account.
A non-free email account? You pay, you mean you pay
Yeah.
for the email account?
Yeah, like MailChimp doesn't like email sent from @Gmail. They prefer if it's like sent from like, at, like from an actual website with a domain. But maybe we could use, we have that, we have an official government email address that we don't really use very much because we can't, check in on it very much. But maybe that would be a nice use for it.
Yeah, I think you have some time on this, because we're really not going to become too, until, the River Styx thing isn't going to be till the end of March. So maybe by the next PR meeting, you might have some better ideas about how you might want to do the newsletter. Also, I think you should open it up if some members or some people, grantees who have received grants would like to put something in the newsletter. We might want to open it up for them. So maybe we can talk about at the next public relations meeting, we can talk about the newsletter and what we might want to put in the newsletter. How about that?
That's a good idea. We have that Google form for when people want us to post a press release or promote them. So utilizing that, we could just copy paste and include that in our newsletter.
Okay, all right. Well, we can talk about that at the next one. So, all right, this is kind of a work in progress. As each thing comes up, we can come up with something that we want to do with it. I know you want, what about this Mother's Day thing? What is that? The Mother's Day.
So the idea was, kind of like how we had the Winter Bazaar, to do a spring one. And we're thinking that like bazaars are probably more successful when they're around gift giving holidays like Mother's Day. So we're thinking, what if we had it like, a week or two before Mother's Day? That way, it'll give people a little bit extra incentive of like what, what they're buying, like who they're buying for.
So, but we don't have a place for that. For example, it'd be fun if we could have it at the where we had the Christmas thing or someplace like that. What were you thinking? So I think that's a good idea.
City Hall.
City Hall, okay. Well, then we need to start working on that now, I would think. Is there anyone who's going to be the chair for that?
I mean, I know that
Or maybe a kid committee?
I know that the Winter Bazaar was mostly Liz, Tamar, Shara, and then also Iffy, who's not on the council. And Shara wasn't on the council at the time, but they were a huge proponent of it. Also, I just had a meeting the other day where there's a statewide thing called Arch Week, which is May 1st through 10th. So it might be a good idea to have the Spring Bazaar during that time as well.
That sounds like a good idea if it's already going to be publicized by other organizations. So instead of Mother's Day, we would call it March Week. Arch Week, March Week, Arch Week,
Arch Week,
Arch Week. Okay.
Arch Week,
So,
you know, like, here, I'll write on here, Mother's Day to Arch Week.
Okay, is it gonna be on Mother's Day or before Mother's Day? Because if you know, if it could be before Mother's Day,
Yeah,
that'd be better. Because if someone want to buy a gift for, you know, for
yeah,
somebody, could better. But it's gonna be 1 day or 2 days. Like 1 day, like he was on last year, or it's gonna be 2 days. And I think the place was you need to find another location. We're gonna have more artists maybe because it was a success last year, and the place was a little small. We're gonna need another location. That's what I'm thinking, because I think we're gonna have more artists to be there.
yeah. Yeah, either we do less artists or we plan for a second location, so that we can, yeah, so it's
Do we
less
have to
narrow
have-
hallways.
Do we have to have a venue for Art Week? I guess we do. You know, they're probably talking about that now. How does it go, Art Week?
So it's in the meeting, we were just kind of it was with people from it was me and Tamar were there, but so was Jessie, who is representing as Cultural Alliance in the Fitchburg Art Museum. Obviously, she's also part of Art Council as well. But also Meredith from Art Stewards from New View was there. And Reimagine North of Maine and Francisco from TDI. So we're just talking about like what kind of events can we do like as a city for Arch Week to promote. And so the Spring Bazaar could be good. We also talked about the idea of doing a grantee showcase or like having kind of a festival. I know the yeah. The Cultural Alliance is working on confirming new space on Main Street, and they're hoping that it'll be ready for Art Week. So that could also be a second location for the Spring Bazaar.
Well, I guess as soon as we know what we're going to do, and I don't know how you plan this with us. How do we, or maybe we don't. Maybe it's
Hi,
just.
Tamar.
Hi, Tamar. As soon as we know what we're going to do for May, we should begin figuring out how to make it special among all the other things, and then how to get media attention for it. Be fun. I don't know. Is this too much to hope for, Matt, to get television for this besides FATV? No offense.
Boston television.
Yeah, Boston
I mean,
television.
That's a tough.
We'd have to do something really crazy.
Yeah, that's a tough. nut.
That's a tough market. Okay.
Even,
Well,
I
even,
think they
anyway.
might do one on like Art Week in general and be like, this is what Fitchburg's doing.
Yeah, something. Well, let's see what we're doing, I guess, and then maybe we can make a decision then.
Yeah.
So who's going to be working on what we're doing?
I'm guessing Liz would be a big coordinator for it.
Is she involved in Art Week?
I mean, yes. I mean, there's only been like one meeting and it was just talking about like what kind of events that we'll be doing. But Liz, like, you know, put together the winter
Yeah, she
Bazaar.
did.
And she's, she works City Hall, so that makes it a little bit easier too. Tamar, do you think Liz was thinking that the Spring Bazaar would be at City Hall again, right?
Yeah, I think that was the idea so far.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, I'm not
Sam
sure.
was suggesting that we should have like a satellite or a second location as well, so that, we can encompass the artists rather than less narrow hallways.
Yeah, I think this is going to be like a group project. So, I mean, we'll have to all vote on whether we want to be involved and how we want to be involved. I thought the idea was that the bazaar might be part of it, right? And then there will probably be other things that happen during that art week.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I wouldn't say that it's going to be on Liz to do it. I think it's going to be several different entities. I think the school will be involved, and Reimagine North of Main will be involved. So it's going to be a group effort.
Yeah.
So
In
to
terms
be
of
determined.
the entirety of Art Week, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think whatever we do in Art Week would have a Mother's Day motif? Presents for Mother?
Wait, that's a good idea. I hadn't. I don't think we all.
Just so
fleshed
we
that
stand
idea
out.
yet.
All
Gift giving.
right, I think to try
I
to
mean, it could
stand
be a
out.
way that we promote it for sure. Of like, get
Yeah.
your mom a gift or get your dad an early Father's Day gift.
Yeah, sure, that's true too. Mom and dad, that'd be good gifts. Everybody's always wondering, what am I gonna get mom, So I think,
Right.
if we had gifts, and ideas, I think that would be great. All right, well, we're just kind of talking this through. I think, we've got enough to think about between now and Mother's Day. So let me update this. Let me talk to the River Styx people and see what they're thinking. And we'll target that for late in March and hope for the best. Does that sound good?
Yeah, we'll have to vote as a council. So Tamar, there's a couple things to add on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay.
One is voting on having another creative networking event at River Styx at the end of March. And Eileen will get some dates from River Styx. So maybe we can also, like when we do that, we can vote on a specific day.
Okay.
As well as, was there something else? What was the other thing? I don't remember what the other thing was.
So would
That
it be
exciting, huh?
It would be voting on doing.
No,
winter
it's
bazaar?
it's the idea that we would put together a squad to attend the events, one at a time, and to sign up people who are interested in learning more about us. This will give us a mailing list to send our newsletter to, and we're going to discuss the newsletter at the next PR meeting, what we might possibly do in that. And we'll also, if we ever get around to the idea of raising funds from the community, I mean, we would have a list that we could work with. It's an idea.
Oh, so do you want it to be less of a like creative meet and greet and more of like cultural council informational?
You mean like the River Styx? No,
Oh,
those should continue. No, I mean, we attend, you put together, Audrey, you put together a calendar of when our grantees are appearing around, when they're doing this and that.
Yeah.
We should pick out some to attend, and some of us, our members, should volunteer to attend the meeting and talk more about Fitchburg Cultural Council. And if they want to learn more about the Fitchburg Cultural Council, they can give us their name and they give us their information. We'll send them our newsletter and that sort of thing. I mean, that will, I think, just give us a bigger audience.
I like that
Yes,
idea.
no, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I mean, we don't have to do this right now because we don't have much. I don't know that we're going to have much going on for a while, but I just want to keep that in the public relations plan.
Yeah. Yeah, once I get like a handle on when people are having their events, I try to like, during announcements mention what FCC funded events are happening that month, and maybe at that time we can ask like, okay, who can attend?
Not so much. Just have a broader list of people that we know are coming, that we can invite to, just a bigger list.
Do you mean of cultural council people or?
People who actually attend these, you go to something at Coggeshall Park. A lot of people attend that. Somebody from our council is there with a table, some information about the Fitchburg Cultural Council, and hey, we're a supporter of this. We support a lot of art show. If you want to get to see more good entertainment like this, sign up, that kind of thing.
Oh, so like ask for tables at
Yes,
these events. Okay.
yes.
So like ambassadors, sort of be ambassadors.
It's like ambassadors. You're right. That's a good way to put it.
Okay. So that can be included when we reach out to the grantees of like, can we have a table at your program? So that we can.
Yes.
And there we can also have our input surveys too, which can have people to. We'll have so many entries for the input survey.
So,
was someone
okay,
gonna say something?
I'm happy to leave it there while we all think about that. I'll update the PR plan, but I see it as a work in progress. As things come up, somebody will have another good idea, somebody want to do something else, and we can just add to it. But you can see that the purpose is, I don't think we're well known among the audiences that know us, but I don't think we're generally well known. And I wish the mayor would be, oh gosh, they're having something. I really have to get out there and be there. I wish we'd see more of the mayor, so among these things, these are things that I'm kind of thinking about.
In my results, I think I saw that participants are most likely to attend activities for fun on weekends and evenings, with a high percent of people preferring weekend evenings to weekend days or weekday evenings. So evenings, weekend evenings is when we're going to get the most attendance for
That's interesting.
Events.
I would have figured it was days, but okay.
Yeah, that's true. Right, like a Saturday afternoon or something like that, I would have thought.
Yeah, particularly if they're events that kids would be interested in. Well, anyway, I think,
yeah, it seems like that in general, weekends and evenings are the best. So we could decide to have it on, have things on afternoons as well. So the thing that I had proposed last PR meeting, Eileen and Tamar, you weren't there, but so every year we have we must have a public input meeting, of course, but we've tacked on the grantee reception. But I thought that maybe a better way to honor grantees would be having a grantee showcase / festival, where it would be like, maybe it's like on the upper commons or like somewhere outdoor and very visible, that like people driving by will be like, we'll stop and see that things are going on. But each of the grantees could get a table and they could talk about their FCC funded programs, as well as talk about their organization in general and other programs that they do, so that the public can learn more about them and be more aware about events that are going on.
Well, that sounds like a good idea. We do something like that anyway, but we're just extending it to introduce more of our grantees. And that would be in July or August, right?
It could be honestly whenever. We need the public input meeting just to be before September 1st. We could put it in conjunction with the public input meeting still, or we could keep it separate. I think probably, we would want to have it in, during the time when it's warm out.
Yeah, so July or August, at least before September, but when the season's underway.
We could also have a part of Art Week as an option too, but maybe that would be a lot of I don't know if maybe would prefer to just focus on one event during Art Week rather than two. Unless
I
we want to
think
put
that
a
this-
conjunction.
Sounds to me like there's going to be a lot of competition in Art Week and it could get confusing. We want to stand out in some way, but I guess we want to show off our vendors, not so much as get our questions answered.
You want to have more stuff more often too, instead of having everything in 1 week.
Hmm.
Where are you, Tamar, that you have to go in mufti?
In my office.
Oh, is there somebody there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We are not alone.
Yes.
Okay. I would suggest maybe, do we think that June would be too close of a date? Because I'm thinking like, you know, it would be nice if the showcased events hadn't happened yet, like that they were coming up. And I feel like May or June is like safe in terms of like weather wise, but also that we're not missing like summer events.
Well, we can.
But I don't
hand
know if
out
that seems like too
during
much.
Art Week, we could always hand out a calendar of
Yeah.
things we have. But it just seems like there's too much going on in Art Week. I would prefer that we have our own event at our own time and probably in August. That's what we did this last year. And even though there was a COVID and everything else, I thought it was a pretty good meeting.
Yeah. I mean, it's outdoors, so don't really have to worry too much about that.
Yes.
So maybe, so do we want to make that in conjunction with the public input meeting, or do we want to have a public input meeting separate?
That would be a public input meeting. But we'd also, I don't know how many of but maybe some of our musical, we did this all right at Ready last year. We had one of our grantees, I think was Eddie Troxel, wasn't it, playing? And then we showed some things that, and I thought that was a good thing to do. I think St. Bernard's was there with their, I think we possibly should do more of that.
Yeah.
It was still iffy last August, was it? It was August, still iffy last August.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that as this year goes on, a lot of the worry about the flu will start to fade away and we'll begin, those people who still feel they ought to wear masks should be allowed to do that, but many people will feel safer going out.
Okay.
So
So yeah, I
grantee-
think the aspects that make it, oh, sorry, Tamar, go ahead.
No, I was just going to recap. So grantee reception is one thing, public input is a second, and those are all in the summer. Is that what the decision is?
I think we're saying to do like a grantee showcase combined with a public input meeting. So the aspect that makes it a public input meeting is that we are getting feedback from the public. Like we need to have like a meeting where we have like a talk back and forth for feedback. So maybe it's like a showcase, like with, you know, all the booths and stuff, and we have a stage up front. And then at some point during the festival, you know, we have the public input portion of like, all right, like, you know, what are you guys looking for next year? Like what kind of,
Yeah, I think it would be good. I think we should put off whether we have it outside or whether we have it inside. Prior to last year, we had a wonderful input meeting that was inside FAM. And I just thought just because it was so much more conducive to, was cool. It didn't have the hot sun beating down. You didn't have to worry about rain. I thought that was a great way to do it. I think we have to see where public opinion goes, but hopefully FAM will let us go there, and maybe we either have it outside, but maybe we have the opportunity to do it inside.
yeah, but I
We
mean,
can-
like we have like, let's see here, how many grantees?
52.
We have 52 grantees. And so to offer them each a table, we need a big space.
We do.
Like
And,
we
people.
like my thought
I
is
don't
to, like,
even know
have
where
5
outside
tables.
we certainly wouldn't have it at FAM, I don't think. So where would you have it if you want to do it that way?
Well, that's why I was thinking like Upper Commons.
All right.
I
don't
Okay,
know.
well,
Not all 52 would lend themselves to the,
No, but I mean, I would
Sure.
want like, it would be nice if like we got like 25 or 30 or something like
Yeah.
that, or,
Yeah.
a good number. Obviously not everyone's gonna come, but I would say FAM has space for like maybe 10.
yeah.
I mean, unless you scatter them like even more throughout the museum.
Well, obviously the
Well,
date, the date would drive this, but I'm wondering if we invited them, like, or reached out to the grantees and said, would you be interested in sharing at a grant reception?
Yeah.
And then if 11 say yes, now see, we would want to know when it is, because that's sort of a loaded question if you don't say when it is. But if we said we wanted to do this on August, whatever that, was it a Friday in August that we did it last time?
Saturday, I thought, isn't it?
No, it was
No,
a
it
I
Friday.
think it was a
weeknight.
Friday.
Is it Friday?
Friday.
It was a Friday night and it was about 1,000,000 degrees, as I recall. But
It
so
was
if we did it,
horrible.
Yes.
it was going to be a Friday in August.
Yeah, August tends to be pretty hot.
Yeah, but if we reached
And
out to them,
buggy.
because I do like the idea of a shared event as well, and I like the idea of harnessing that energy, because there is a pretty strong overlap between the folks who are interested in this stuff and our grantees and their own networks. So I think it's sort of a nice, we have an audience guaranteed if we combine them, even though we want general public stuff too. But I think we got that last time. There were a lot of faces that were new to us, which was good.
Mm.
So I think maybe that would be a good first step, as we land on a date. And then the venue would depend on how many people indicate they want to do it. And then we could decide that it's not practical to do it in one event if all 53 say, yes, we want to come.
We really don't have to decide now. I
Right.
think we can just kind of imagine that we're going to have it on a Friday night in August and see how the world goes, because things have been changing so much.
Right.
So,
I mean, I do
So
want to not necessarily set dates, because I think we're gonna, we'll have to like talk to the, vote on it as a council, but
Right.
having our plan for the year of like, all right, we got this coming, this on this date, this on this date, this on this date. So we got to start planning like 3 months in advance. And
yeah.
like,
So that's what I'm saying
know
in
what we're
this
doing.
anyway. Should I do
Yeah.
it a different way? That's what I'm saying in this. I'm trying to, but I just wasn't sure what dates you were thinking of. So,
so we don't like the idea of doing it in June. That would be like too early.
well, right. So I'll write this up and say we're thinking about doing this in August, on a Friday in August for the time being. That's still the thinking mode. I mean,
we
these are
could do
not.
it in June, it would give us more time, because the priorities we need for the council, for the cycle in the fall. June, it
True.
wouldn't be as hot outside.
Do we think that we could plan something like this, as well as doing a spring bazaar?
Yeah, when is Art Week exactly? It's
like
a
the
week
first
in
week of
May.
May. Mhm.
First
It
week
seems
of
like
May.
it seems like we're pushing everything together. I guess I still vote for August.
Okay, it was just very hot.
Yeah.
It was so hot.
Well, maybe we'll have it indoors, we'll just have to see how that goes. I would prefer to have it indoors. Isn't there some place that we could have it, that we could, I don't know why we need tables for everybody either, why they can't sit together in chairs. That's what they did at the, this was in 1919 or 2019.
Could we do it on the
I
common?
thought that was really a good
college?
one.
Matt, could we do it on the common at the college?
Oh, like
Yeah,
in the
on the-
in the squad? I mean, the
on the
quad.
quad?
Mhm.
Yeah, the only rub there would be, I don't know what the construction schedule would be, if we're gonna be doing any work on campus. I don't know any big projects on the main campus, but once the students leave in May, that's when we start tearing things up. So I just have to find, once we know the dates, I could look into that.
Yeah.
And
I guess
they
I don't
probably
see
have like
why
a
we-
big event tent, right?
Yeah.
We don't have.
At
a
I
big
guess I-
tent.
No?
I don't see why we have to have private tables for every grantee either. I mean, I think our chairs do just as well. There should be a space for people to talk to one another, and then for the meeting part, they can sit down in chairs. we should have food, which we did have at the night, at the 2019 one. Each of
Mhm.
members of the council actually brought food. I remember I brought a cheese tray, and I think Jimmy brought some cookies and stuff like that.
Well, my idea for the tables is that like, it's like kind of like a convention, you know? Like it's a
Well, we need a
convention, but
really
it's
big,
like our grantees. And so that like members of the public, when they're coming, they go there, and they talk to our, you know, these organizations and learn about what they're doing and make sure to mark in their calendar to attend, learn more about what's going on in Fitchburg.
I don't know, it sounds almost like they'd have to bring their stuff to it. It seems almost like another showcase. I
Yeah,
don't know
that's what
how
I
many.
meant. Yeah.
Oh, so
I
another
meant like
opportunity.
a grantee showcase or convention, if you want to call it.
Then have another one in December. I don't know. Seems like a lot
Oh,
of
no,
work. It
that's
seems,
different.
yeah.
Because the spring and winter bazaar, those are just artists in general. They're not funded by our grants necessarily. They're just local artists. Versus this idea would be, you know, but I mean, if I were one that, if I had a program and I obviously like, you know, I got an application to get money for it and I like putting a lot of work into it, I would want to take any chance that I could to promote my program or my organization of all the other things that we're doing. So that's what my pitch was. I don't know how other people feel about it. We could also just do what we did in previous years, but I thought it would be fun to do something like that because I felt bad that I invited all these grant recipients last year that are not necessarily from in town. And it felt like that they were a bit of a footnote to the public input aspect. And I wanted to, you know, do another way of promoting them.
I don't know.
Thinking back to when we did it at the art museum in that community gallery space. And, you know, everyone had name tags and I think indicated that they were recipients. So it had that sort of convention feel of, oh, you're an artist, you know, tell me about what you did. And I know there was time built in for mingling, and to Eileen's point about having it be a cool indoor space, it lent itself to hanging out. Because I think
Yeah.
the
But I
speaking
love-
program was pretty brief, but the vibe was
Yeah.
really nice. People were there for a while.
Yeah, I thought so too. The other thing I loved about it was as people got up and discussed what they were doing, somebody else would put their hand up and say, hey, I'd like to talk with you. I'm doing something like that too. Or, hey, I'd like to talk with you because I'd like to do something like that. That's what I loved about that meeting. So it wasn't a lot of stuff. It was just people standing up and talking about what they do.
Okay. I think I was also thinking, because during the public input meeting, one of the suggestions was that we should have an art festival. And I
Right.
thought that this could be an art festival. I mean, I know not all of the organizations are arts oriented, but like maybe we could have our grantees, but we could also extend it to other art type things. Sam, you have your hand up?
Yes, sorry, I'm gonna have to leave because I have a class now.
Yeah, it's 5:36, that's
Yeah.
fair.
All right, so have a good night, everybody.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
Sam.
you, Sam.
Thanks for
Bye,
coming.
bye, bye. You're welcome, thank you, bye.
Right. Well, we're getting really to the end of our rope here. Maybe it's something we can just think about, and when we have more people in the meeting, we can talk about it.
Yeah,
But maybe we should
Um,
continue with the
okay,
agenda.
yeah. So, all right, so our plan of action is that we are going to talk about creative meet and greet for next month, the end of next month.
What day?
We haven't set
What
a
day
day.
do we
We're
go on
gonna, I would suggest doing it on either an evening, weekday, or sometime during the weekends, because that's what people said in the public input meeting. But I think Eileen is going to ask River Sticks for
And get
date.
back to us?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna update the PR plan, and just briefly, let's talk about, what's coming up and what some of our questions. And I'd like to get more people to think, it's probably a lot to ask, but get more people to think about it on their own time. What we should be doing this year to raise our visibility and be of more help to our grantees.
I mean, do you want to, at the next PR meeting, make kind of a list of volunteer requests, maybe, so that at the next meeting we can, some people, like, if we want to do a newsletter, who wants to work on newsletters? Who wants
Okay,
to?
all right. I can do a chart and people can sign up on it, and I'll put on some possibilities.
Yeah. Could also ask that at the large council meeting too, because I don't know.
That might be better. Do you want me to make that chart for the large council meeting,
Yeah,
Tamar?
that's good, yeah.
And then,
Yeah, I think
that
like
we
a
will.
nice one sheet by date would be the best. 'Cause then we
Okay, I'm
can
sorry.
actually- Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? So I said, I think, nice one sheet by date would be the best.
Okay,
Like, this is what's happening in March. This is what's happening in April. This is what we need to plan for in May.
I'll do it and send it to you, and you can tell me whether you think it'll work. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And yeah, we'll need to know, Tamar, do you think we're gonna stick with the same dates as we did last year for open studios, like in terms of when registration opens,
Probably.
deadlines and things like that?
Hmm.
I would suggest that early registration is 1 month before the regular deadline. That way it gives people a little bit more of a, and I don't know, because we have such a wide period, right? Doesn't it start March 1st?
Mhm.
Have you set
So,
a
like-
date for, have you
Yeah,
set
we
a
set
date?
it, we set a date at a meeting in the fall. We already voted on that.
Oh, you set the date at a
Mhm.
meeting in the fall?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did. We all voted on it. Yeah.
Oh, you did? What is the date?
It's the last weekend in September, same as last
The
time.
last weekend in September. Okay.
So always be that.
Mhm. It'll make
Um,
marketing easier.
So yeah, yeah, action plans are good. Of hard dates of like when we need to be paying attention to these things and promoting them.
Mhm.
Yes.
Cool.
So what things did you tell me I have to add to the agenda for the meeting? The creative networking end of March idea, the winter bazaar with, I'll need a date for that. Was there a third thing you want on the agenda for the next meeting?
I have, yeah, if the council would be asked to vote on a date for the first quarter meet and greet that will discuss the grantee reception and the public input meetings format and date and location.
Add to vote to approve purchasing a stopwatch for FCC TV to the
Okay.
agenda. Liz has already purchased one.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Last thing, scholarship press release. Would anyone here like to volunteer to write a press release for our scholarship?
Have you chosen a scholarship winner, or this is just to announce it?
This
To
is
announce that
it.
we're looking for applications.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do it because I need to send it to the schools.
Okay, I'm not sure what it's all about, so.
Eileen, all right. I got it. I'll have you read it, Matt, maybe.
Yeah, because I'm happy to take a crack at it. You caught me mid-meeting minute taking, but I will
Oh, no
happily
worries.
share, I will happily share the press release cracking duties.
Okay.
Awesome. Tamar, are we accepting applications like as now, or do we have?
We can. We haven't, I haven't officially sent it to the high schools yet.
Mhm.
That needs to happen.
And
But
then
yeah,
how are
technically,
they?
it's open.
Okay. And how do they apply?
They would send their materials to us. So to the council email. So
Okay.
I had wanted to, I don't know where I put that question. I thought I had asked Sam if he would participate in that because I thought he would be great because he's a fine artist, but He's already gone for the night, and I forgot to ask. So yeah, so the information would come to us, and then we would refer them to the Women's Caucus. So they would do the final. They're the ones that can, you know, we'll vote on the final winners, but they're the ones that'll interview the kids.
Oh, we will be voting on them? I thought they were.
I think to make it official, like they're going to decide, they'll review them, run them through the process. But then when we finally, as the council, need to be the ones that say, yes, we're giving 500 to this person, and yes, we're giving 500 to that person.
That makes sense.
Just to make it official.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
And what's the proper name of that organization, the Women's Caucus?
Yeah, I like
The-
messed it up today online. So it's the Women's Caucus for Art, and it's the Central Massachusetts chapter of the Women's Caucus for Art. It's like a long name.
They're one of our
Sweet.
grantees.
Mhm.
Right.
Central Massachusetts Women's Caucus for Arts.
Yeah. It's a cool organization.
Yeah.
Cool.
So applicants will send the council their applications.
Mhm.
We will share them with the caucus. And then they'll make recommendations to us to award the grants. Is that what it works? So we could override them. I don't imagine that would ever happen, but
Yeah, ultimately we could override anything, couldn't we? Like the
But it's
council
our-
has to determine.
it's
Who's
our
the-
money, but
Yeah,
we want their input. Yeah, I don't see that happening, but
And then do we need to create an application, or are they just gonna send us a resume and their portfolio?
I don't have an answer for that, Audrey. Technically, we should have an application ready. Which I need to look at the, what do you call it, the debrief about it, the actual scholarship document. And I wanted to add the logo to it before I just make it look a little nicer and turn it into a PDF before I send it to the schools. But yeah, technically there should be an application.
Okay.
Technically there should. Which I can work on that. It's on
Thank
my
you,
to-
Tamar.
It's on my to-do list because I need to get it to the schools.
Awesome. Cool. Do we have any PR that needs approving?
I was very late, so I missed. Did you guys discuss a PR for the grants?
yep,
Yes.
shared a draft press release and a PSA script, Tamar, which I
Awesome.
emailed to the gang earlier. So if you want to look at it and get back to me.
Okay, perfect.
There was a general consensus that it was excellent in a way that few written works of man ever are, but I'm going to still run it by the mayor's office, make sure they're okay with. I might be expanding on what was said at the meeting, actually.
That is hilarious.
Not by much, though.
Okay, thank you.
So funny.
And I got a couple of notes for the image, so
$53,134.
update, I'll take that feedback and edit the image that will go into the press release as well as posting on social media. And I foresee that for social media, it'll probably just be a list of all of the grantees and their information. And I plan to create a public Word document with the information on there because sometimes social media cuts it off or makes it like really difficult like view. So just like having that one link might be easier than adding it to our link tree.
Cool.
And then they'll tag everyone. I'll tag all the people in it, all the grantees.
And then
Cool.
I had a call from just a little FYI. Well, it doesn't. Let's see if it applies to anything on your list here. It doesn't, so I will not. Can I? Well, announcements. Can I fit it in the announcement section?
Sure, if
On the
it's an
agenda.
announcement, go for it.
Well, it's just a question regarding grants. So Mr. Krishmerik called today and asked if it was still good for them to send us grants that they hear about and what we do with them. And I said, yes. I mean, we don't have a good rhythm for getting them all posted, all other types of grants that come at us. And I told him just to keep sending them and we would do our best to share them. So occasionally he'll send something that they get, that their office gets wind of. So maybe it's something we could think about in the future if we have a platform, like we're using social media. That's like the platform for how we give the grantees information. But just as a FYI, he asked if they should continue to send them, and I said yes, send them, and we'll do our best with them. So,
I know that you've been doing a good job on Facebook, like taking the Mass Cultural Council newsletters and making like each of those articles into
just a
posts.
post. Yeah, it's just,
And maybe that would be
something.
like kind of a similar thing. We also have that Google form for requests for publicity, which I think the idea is Matt turns them into press releases. And
That's
then
the
sends them
theory, but
out.
not many have
it
come
hasn't really
through.
happened though, has it?
Yeah, no.
We haven't really
But I
had
think
it.
that's something we can talk about. I mean, we have the FCC TV portal now too, so that's guaranteed FaceTime with the artist, so we can talk about that. Even like in the green room, for example, talk about, hey, while you're here, remember, we have this opportunity for you, that kind of thing.
Tamar, Eileen is going to send a nice grant acceptance letters to each of the grantees, but she's going to leave FCC TV stuff out of it. I'll send a separate email because those are more like public relations stuff, and Eileen's is more of like this is all like the requirements and stuff. So I can include in my more public relations kind of email of like, send us your press releases.
My experience to date with grantees is they don't really like long things to read. So I think we should, have a lot of different things, and maybe yours, Audrey, can also talk about some of the things we're doing this summer to support what they're doing. And I'm just telling them what they need to do, So
Yeah,
I'll
so
send you
that's
a
your
copy.
W9.
I intend to do this tomorrow. I'll send you a copy of what I'm writing. Can I send it to you too, Matt? Because you're probably a good editor. Okay, I'll send them a copy of what I'm writing, all the stuff they have to do, just to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. I'll do this tomorrow. And if I can figure out how to put the names together with the actual money, which is the very final column of those things, I'm hoping somebody can make that easier for me. Like the thing you showed us it was all easy to read, but now it's in 4 pieces. So if you know what I'm talking about. So,
I do.
so okay, that's what I'll do.
I got your
Cool.
email about that, Eileen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm guessing the information that you want are the name of the program and the amount of money.
The
Right.
name of the program, the amount of money we've agreed upon.
Do you
I
want
have all the other
contact
stuff.
information on there?
Pardon?
Do you want contact information or you?
I already have that. I have the sheet
Okay.
already set up. All I need is really the amount of money we've agreed upon.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay.
If it says $0, that means we didn't give them any. Yeah, I'll send that to you.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cool. Any other announcements? I don't think we have any.
The grants are done. That's a good announcement.
Woohoo! Grants are done.
Who?
Yay!
Oh my gosh, that was a nightmare. So I had to call Lisa today for help.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you figured it out.
Well, it was kind of tricky because once you put somebody in either denied or approved, you can't really move them. So we had one that I had managed to deny, but they were approved. So I had to call Boston to unlock it so I could move it.
Oh.
Anyway, and the numbers didn't match. So that was fun as well, Eileen.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So the amount that we gave away versus what we were allowed to give away, I had to make those 2 numbers match because it's all in the system and it has to match perfectly. Otherwise, you can't submit it. So our annual report now matches what we gave away. So that's
because we had additional money from previous years.
Yeah.
Right.
So that
that's
number,
tricky.
like what our treasury thinks that number is, and it had to match.
Right.
So that's it matched, and I got it done. And so that's a big.
We were able
So
to give more money.
Going forward, there's some cleanup still left to do.
Well, thank you, Tamar. There might be some February events that are happening with our new grantees, but I have not gotten to that point yet of updating the
They
calendar.
probably haven't gotten their money yet. Well, maybe that's only.
Well, some people, their
I know,
events
some
have already passed or it's coming up, and they just had to like put their money forward and they'll get reimbursed when they receive their money.
Okay.
But yeah, cool. All right, I think that is it. It is 5:52. Thank you everyone for bearing with us. This meeting is adjourned.